Good day, good everyone. Today we're looking at the introduction to the cardiovascular physiology. The first thing you should know is that is the basic anatomy of the human heart. Yeah. So what you have to know is that the heart is composed of chambers. Four chamber. Now the first chamber you will see is the right atrium, uh, the right ventricle, the left atrium, and the left ventricle. Next thing is that the wall of the heart is composed of four layers: the epicardium, which is on the outside; the myocardium, which is composed of is what makes up the actual or the bulk of the muscle of the heart muscle. Try and get it. Okay, yeah. The next thing we have here is the endocardium. Now, the endocardium is the innermost part of the heart. That's the heart. That's the part of the heart that will likely come in contact with the blood as it flows through the different heart chambers. Now, like I previously said, the heart is composed of four chambers. You have this here is the right atrium, and just below it is the right ventricle. Ventricles are usually more muscular than the atrium. Why? Because they carry out a high degree of muscular contraction. Now, this is the left atrium, and as usual, this is the left ventricle. Left ventricle. So, right atrium and right ventricle will be on the right side of the heart, while the left atrium and the left ventricle will be on the left side of the heart. It's as simple as that. Now, I earlier said that the wall of the heart is composed of um three different three different layers of walls. That is the epicardium, the myocardium, and the endocardium. And this diagram tries to increase our imagination on how they look like. Now, looking at this, you can see that this part signifies this part signifies the innermost uh, part of the heart, right towards the side is the outermost part. Now, on the innermost part, like I told you, the first thing you will see is the endocardium, which is which will really come in contact with the blood in the heart. And I also talked about the myocardium, which I said will occupy the bulk of the muscle of the heart. You can see it's a very large area. Then after that, directly after the myocardium, what you will see next is the epicardium. Now, the epicardium, let me clean this. The epicardium is it has a very strong relationship with the pericardium or the pericardium. Now, the pericardium is like a sheet that is covering the heart, is giving protection against wear and tear and against shock. Now, have you ever heard of pericardium fluid? Now, the pericardium fluid is like just like how you have synovial fluid in the joints. It helps to prevent friction, wear and tear of the joint. Now, why in the heart you have what is called the pericardial fluid. It is not stated here, but the pericardial fluid will be found in the pericardial cavity. See, it will be here. So after the epicardium, you will have the pericardial cavity before you see the fibrous and the parietal layer of the pericardium. Okay, moving on. So the arteries connected to the heart. You have the aorta. Now the aorta is divided into three major parts. Three major parts. The first part you have is the ascending aorta, the descending aorta, and the arc arch of the aorta. Let's say, for instance, this is the aorta. This is how it looks basically, the physical structure. Now, our blood flows from here upwards. Now, this part is called the ascending aorta, while this part between these two segments, this part is known as the arch of the aorta. Now, why as it comes down here, this part will be known as the descending aorta. Now, another important artery we see is the coronary artery. The coronary artery will take the oxygenated blood from the left, that is from the left ventricle, and take it where? Take it to the lungs, where it will get oxygenated. Now, all I'll be saying since can easily be seen on this diagram. I think we talked about the aorta and the pulmonary artery. So this is the aorta. You can see here that is the aorta. This will be the ascending aorta. This is the arch, while this is the descending aorta. While the pulmonary artery, this is it. This is the pulmonary artery. It will take the oxygenated blood from where? From the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, then it goes to the lung. Now, it gets oxygenated in the lung. Then it is being brought back to the left atrium. So get this blood from the right atrium. The right atrium here will move to the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle it will go to the lung, and from the lung it will go where? From the lung it will go to the left atrium. So it's as simple as that. Next thing we have here is the veins connected to the heart. Now, the heart receives venous supply from a couple of veins. The first one you have is this superior vena cava, and you have the inferior vena cava, the coronary sinus, and the pulmonary vein. Now, let's take it one by one. Now, the superior vena cava, that's the superior vena cava. I'm talking about the first one on the list here, superior vena cava. It receives deoxygenated blood from the superior part of the body. Now, when I talk about superior part of the body, let us say that let's draw a simple structure of the human body. Let's say the human body is something like this. You have your head and your body, and your heart is somewhere around here. Now, the superior vena cava is coming upwards to the right atrium, right? Now, it will receive the oxygenated blood from the neck, from the head, from the part of the thorax, then bring it down to the right atrium. Why? For the inferior vena cava, the inferior vena cava is coming downwards to the right atrium. So it will take deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body, that's such as your pelvis, your lower abdomen, your legs, that is your lower limb, and the rest. While the coronary sinus is a much different venous structure than superior and inferior vena cava. This coronary sinus, receives deoxygenated blood from the myocardium of the heart. The heart is a living object. That is a living. What composed of living tissues and cells. So it has to get its own supply of food and energy, such as oxygen. So the coronary sinus would take the venous blood from the myocardium of the heart and supply them to the right atrium. The pulmonary vein, that is the pulmonary vein, it will collect it will collect oxygenated blood from the lung and supply it to the left atrium. So the pulmonary vein is the only vein in the body that is known to carry oxygenated blood. So note that peculiarity about the pulmonary vein. So everything I've said, you can easily find them here. This structure you have here, this structure is the superior vena cava. From down here, you can see it's the inferior vena cava. Like I earlier showed you, this is the pulmonary artery, while this is the pulmonary vein. Sorry, this is the pulmonary vein. Don't be mistaken. Sorry. This is the pulmonary vein. I also showed you the aorta. The coronary sinus does not show in this diagram, but it will take the oxygenated blood from the entire myocardium and supply them or drain them into the right atrium. Now the heart performs some particular actions which I will take as a full course in some upcoming videos, but just for you to know now, it carries out four actions: that the chronotropic action, uh, the inotropic action, the dromotropic action, and the bathmotropic action. The heart basically has four very important properties. That is the conductivity, meaning it has the ability to conduct impulses from one part to the next part. The excitability, meaning that when there is a presence of an impulse, the heart will be stimulated to move. While the next property we have is the contractility. As a muscle, you should be able to contract, you can contract and relax, contract and relax. Why the heart has a very important feature, it's called the rhythmicity, meaning that it's able to beat at a particular frequency and rhythm, steady frequency and rhythm. The valves of the heart. Now the heart is composed of two major types of valves. Two major types of valve. You have the semilunar valve and the atrioventricular valve. Now, the semilunar valve include the aortic valve and the pulmonary valve. The aortic valve, as I said, the aorta is a valve that is found along the course of the aorta. The pulmonary valve is found along the course of the pulmonary vessel. The pulmonary valve can be found between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery. When blood wants to move from the right ventricle pulmonary artery, there has to be enough pressure that will make the pulmonary valve to open. And you also have what we call the atrioventricular valve. Just as the name says, atrioventricular, usually found between the atrium and the ventricle. You have the tricuspid valve and the bicuspid valve. Now, it's called the tricuspid valve because it has like like three cups, something like this, like three cups, 1, 2, and 3, and 3. So they open to allow. While the bicuspid valve will have just two cups, just two cups, one and to something like that. Now, I'm going to tell you, here they said we have semilunar valve. Now, semilunar means that it's half the shape of a moon. It's half shape of a moon. Lunar means moon, so semi half the shape of a moon. So like I was saying, this is all I was saying. This is the bicuspid valve. You can see here, it has this. See the first layer, 1 and 2 valve. While the tricuspid valve, you see it has 1, 2, and 3 on this side. Okay, moving on. We also have the pulmonary valve, which is here, and the aortic valve. So that's the end of today's video. Kindly subscribe. I'll be posting lots of videos on the cardiovascular physiology. Do have to subscribe. Thank you.